Why do they not fall? This is the great question. We stand before a wall of ice. It towers hundreds of feet into the sky. It is a sheer, vertical cliff. Gravity is a force we all know. It pulls everything down towards the center of the earth. It pulls on the smallest stone. It pulls on the greatest mountain. And it pulls on this colossal wall of frozen water. The weight is unimaginable. Millions of tons of ice stacked high. Logic tells us it should crumble. It should crash into the sea in a great explosion of sound and fury. To understand the cliff, we must first understand the ice. It is water, of course, but transformed. At a tiny scale, ice is not a solid block. It is a collection of countless individual crystals. Each crystal is made of water molecules, locked into a repeating pattern, a crystalline lattice. It is this structure that gives ice its hardness, but unlike stone, the molecules are not still. They vibrate, they jostle for position, they can move. Heat gives them this chance. A little energy lets molecules shift and rearrange. This is why ice can flow so slowly over vast landscapes. Ice cliffs are not like cliffs of rock. Stone is brittle. Ice can crack, but it can also flow, bend, and change. Think of it like a bag full of sand. It can pour, yet resist when pressed. With an added trick, crystals touching can form new bonds. They can fuse together, a community, not just a pile. Where there is weakness, there is potential for new strength. The secret is not that the ice is strong, but that it is alive with change. Imagine the weight of a skyscraper pressing down on its foundations. Now imagine a cliff of ice, hundreds of feet tall. The pressure at its base is enormous. Every crystal deep inside feels this immense squeeze, a destructive force threatening the ice. Under extreme pressure, the freezing point of water is lowered, so even below zero, tiny films of liquid can exist between crystals. These films act like lubricant and like glue. Under pressure, grains settle into a tighter, stronger arrangement. Molecules detach from one crystal and reattach to another, effectively welding the grains together. Pressure sintering. A single interlocking solid emerges. Where stress is greatest, self-repair is strongest. Cracks are squeezed shut. Voids are filled. The same pressure that threatens the cliff triggers its repair. The ice heals its wounds where it needs it most. The structure stands because it uses pressure, channeling it into strength. The story of the cliff is not only about the pressure within, it is also about the world without. The face feels the warmth of the sun and the bite of the polar wind. Even far below freezing, molecules can break free and escape as gas. This is called sublimation, a quiet, invisible erosion. Molecule by molecule, the cliff loses mass. Sunlight and dry polar air accelerate this sculpting. Over time, flutes and hollows emerge. But the sun's warmth does not only cause loss, it also drives a delicate inward cycle of repair. Energized molecules move from warmer zones into colder voids. Reaching the cold, they freeze and join the lattice anew. A tiny seam healed from within. The same solar energy that shaves the surface stitches the interior. It is a delicate balance, a dance between destruction and creation. So we return to our question, why do the giant ice cliffs not fall? The answer is not simple. It is a combination of many things. The cliff stands because it is not a dead piece of stone. It is a balance of opposing forces. Gravity pulls down, but the ice pushes back with persistent self-repair.